Good morning, everyone. Dr. Leatherwood, thank you so much for the introduction. Thank you for hosting us today. I want to thank all these folks. These guys are community leaders in their counties across Western North Carolina, members of the Governor's Advisory Council on Western North Carolina Recovery. They've done a tremendous job keeping us informed on the needs of their friends and neighbors and making sure that the state is responsive to what they need. And so I'm very grateful, and of course, very much appreciative to Senator Corbin and Mayor Manheimer for your leadership of this work. Next week, as we all know, will mark the 1-year milestone since Hurricane Helene hit Western North Carolina. 1 year since hundreds of thousands of North Carolinians had their lives turned upside down. The people of Western North Carolina are incredibly strong and resilient. They've spent the last year working arm in arm to support each other. And my team in Raleigh and I have been focused on trying to emulate their example. I've been pleased to work with the General Assembly to pass 2 bipartisan appropriation bills in excess of $1 billion in recovery funding, important efforts for housing, private roads and bridges, local government infrastructure, agriculture and crop loss, and education. Our Western North Carolina Small Business Initiative awarded grants totaling $55 million to more than 2,100 small businesses to help them get back on their feet, reopen their doors. Nearly every agency and state government has contributed to recovery efforts in one way or another, and I'm also very grateful for our relationships with our federal partners. We are grateful for every federal dollar that we have received because it brings us closer to recovery. But we need more help. The next stage of recovery is going to require a new commitment from Congress and from the administration to not forget the people of Western North Carolina. Western North Carolina has not received anywhere near what it needs, nor our fair share. So far, North Carolina has received or been awarded federal funding equivalent to about 9% of the total damage that Helene caused. States that were similarly devastated following Hurricanes Katrina, Maria, or Sandy saw 70% of their damages covered by federal funding. The average is typically between 40 and 50% of total damage in federal relief dollars. Today, I am making a new request of Congress for an additional $13.5 billion in recovery assistance. And I'll be headed to Washington on Wednesday for meetings to further this request to our federal partners. Here's where the $13.5 billion needs to go. First of all, people still need to get back in their homes. Roughly 74,000 homes were damaged by the storm. Very few of those had flood insurance. These homeowners need a safe place to anchor their lives and remain in their community. They need help rebuilding their homes. The same goes for our small business owners, a second priority. 96% of small businesses in the area reported impacts from Helene. Western North Carolina's economy relies heavily on the strength of small businesses, and if we don't support those businesses, we will lose jobs and people will struggle to put food on the table. 6 out of 7 businesses have not yet reached their pre-Helene revenues. I thank HUD for working with us to approve North Carolina's action plan to utilize $1.4 billion in Community Development Block Grant Disaster Recovery. How's that for a mouthful? CDBG DR is a flexible program that can support rebuilding homes, helping our small businesses, and repairing our infrastructure, which is important given the unique challenges of rebuilding in a mountainous region. While the CDBG DR grant model, we can get building right away without the cash flow problems of reimbursement programs. HUD has been a good partner to North Carolina, and I want to build on that success. That's why I am requesting $8 billion in CDBG DR grants to help us get the job done here in Western North Carolina. We're also asking for $400 million from the Small Business Administration to offer more forgivable loans to North Carolina small businesses. Our small business initiative successfully awarded grants to 2,100 small businesses, but the demand for those grants far exceeded the supply. We want to build on that effort because when small businesses succeed, we all succeed. Next, I'm requesting $2 billion in new FEMA funding from Congress. After Hurricane Katrina, Congress created special community disaster loans that enabled local governments to continue the basic work of running their cities, paying police officers, picking up trash. Western North Carolina towns and cities were forced to spend money that they didn't have to rescue people from disaster. And with so many people displaced and business activity diminished, there is no such thing as a stable source of revenue for these local governments. I'm requesting Congress make the same type of loan program available here as they did to people, towns, impacted by Katrina. The final major portion of this request relates to our roads and bridges. Hurricane Helene damaged 5,000 miles of state-maintained roads, as well as many private driveways and bridges. I am incredibly proud of North Carolina DOT's work to reopen more than 97% of state-maintained roads that were closed because of the storms. But we're still waiting on reimbursements for much of the work that's already been done, and it's not a matter of simply doing quick repairs to get the roads reopened. We've got to build roads that will last. For example, I-40 has reopened, and people use it to go to Tennessee and back on a daily basis. We were able to repair it so fast only by using temporary measures. To get I-40 back to full strength, it will take more than $1 billion. That is just one, albeit a very important, example. So I'm requesting nearly $2 billion in new funding from Congress, not just to restore our roads to normal, but also to protect them against future damage and build them back stronger than before. These 4 areas, restoring homes, supporting small businesses, bolstering local governments, and building roads that will last, make up the majority of the new $13.5 billion appropriation request of Congress. But that's not all we are seeking. We're still waiting on billions of dollars that Congress appropriated last December with the American Relief Act. We are grateful for the millions that have gotten signed off in recent weeks. They are essential and sorely needed, but we're waiting on billions. We're seeking $6 billion. Is that the president? The funds that have come through in recent weeks have been sorely needed, much appreciated, but we are waiting on billions. We're seeking $6 billion in either allocated or competitive awards from previously appropriated funds. So in this budget request, I am once again calling on federal agencies to take action to allocate these funds and get them out the door to help the people of Western North Carolina. We've learned a great deal over this past year, and I am proud of the progress that we've made together, and we will keep fighting every day to get people the help that they need, because the people of Western North Carolina are not asking for a handout. They're asking for a hand up to get back on their feet. Recovery is a team sport. The state has been putting in money and effort, and 1 year after this terrible tragedy, it is time for our federal government to meet the needs of the people of Western North Carolina. Thank you, and I'm pleased to invite forward Senator Corbin, incredible partner in the General Assembly and one of the 2 excellent co-chairs of this advisory council. Senator.
Thank you, Governor, and I'd like to echo his thanks for this group that's standing behind me. Mayor Manheimer and I are pleased to be chairing this committee of very talented, nonpartisan leaders from every spectrum of Western North Carolina. So thank you for your time and your effort and your service. This is and continues to be a pleasure for us. Good morning. I'm here to lend my support to Governor Stein's request for $13.5 billion in new Helene funding from Congress. The North Carolina General Assembly has worked hard over the past year to come across our differences and focus on getting people the help that they need. Just this year, as Governor Stein referenced, we've passed 2 disaster relief bills that have totaled more than $1 billion in aid to Western North Carolina. If you go back late last year and total that up, it's about $2.2 billion, and that's with a B. And I believe, Governor, before now, the most that the General Assembly has ever allocated for storm relief is about $500 million. So we're already at 4 times that, and we have more money waiting to be allocated. I know that the legislature will continue to work together and work with Governor Stein to keep recovery efforts moving forward. However, we do need the federal government to continue to partner with us in this effort. Folks, we're talking about $60 billion in damages. That's way more than this state can pay for. Let me put that in perspective for you. Our budget for the entire year, this is everything the state pays for, schools, police, roads, is about $34 billion. So the damage is almost double the amount of our entire state budget. Our budget for we need federal help because of that. And $60 billion, folks, is not just a number. It's people getting a roof over their head, being able to put food on the table. At this point, I want to echo what the governor said. I want to personally thank President Trump. If that was him, tell him we'll call him back as soon as this is over. But we'll personally thank President Trump, Senators Budd and Tillis, Representative Edwards, for everything that they've done so far in getting us on the right track for recovery. And I urge them to stand by our side in this next phase. I look forward to working with the governor to encourage and support this request in D.C. So thank you. At this point, I want to introduce my co-chair, the Mayor of Asheville, Esther Mannheimer.
Thank you, Senator Corbin, and thank you, Governor. And standing here with me, it's been our pleasure to chair the Western North Carolina Recovery Committee. These are representatives from all across Western North Carolina. And we've been meeting in various communities and been able to see firsthand what these communities experienced through this hurricane. I'm going to talk a little bit about what our challenges are in Asheville, but I think they're representative of all the affected towns and counties that were hit by Hurricane Helene. In Asheville, we've come a long way this past year as we approach this 1-year milestone. A lot of services have been restored, like water and power, communications, and many of our roads, not all of our roads, but many of our roads. But now we're moving into the period of long-term recovery. Our unemployment rates are still too high. They have not recovered to pre-storm lows. Many of our businesses, especially those near the French Broad River and the Swannanoa Rivers, were significantly damaged or destroyed, and they're still working to reopen. Some have managed to reopen, some still have not. The infrastructure damaged by the floods that supports these businesses also needs repair and rebuilding. And many of our parks along the river, including playgrounds, a swimming pool, soccer fields, a golf course, multi-use paths that are normally enjoyed by thousands, are in need of repair. Some stormwater and water infrastructure is still in need of either repair or significant improvement to make us more resilient in the face of future events. And we still need to get rid of debris and destroyed structures that linger on private property and make our city look much less welcoming to locals and visitors alike. The city is also undertaking the massive job of removing debris in the 20,000 acres of watershed property around the Norfolk Reservoir, which is why it is so important that during this time and through this hurricane season, FEMA continues to support the cost of operating the temporary water filtration system built by the Army Corps of Engineers that is located at the reservoir. Even with this work ahead of us, today, almost 1 year later, Asheville is open for business. But every investment, every dollar of support will help us continue our journey of recovery and help us to rebuild an economy better than ever, to not only host those who want to visit, but provide jobs and quality of life for those that live there. Recovery costs money, more money than any city or county in Western North Carolina can manage, even from a cash flow standpoint. We continue to work to recover all while waiting for FEMA to reimburse us. And I will say as an aside, I know there's a lot of staff here from cities and counties, how much time it's taking out of our lives every day just to fight to be reimbursed for the funds that have already been allocated by Congress. We need to do other important recovery work rather than continuing to advocate for these vital reimbursements. I am grateful for the reimbursements that have come through, but the lag time makes it that much harder for us to do our jobs. So I stand with Governor Stein and his request for more help from Congress. We've come so far, but we have a long way to go. And now I'm going to thank you all and turn it back over to the governor.
Happy to take questions, either the senator, or mayor, or I, or anyone else.
What is the holdup? Why is it taking so long to get this all ready?
Some of it is that the work is yet to be done. The DOT has not repaired every road, but they've repaired many more roads than they've been reimbursed. There was news a week or two ago about the Secretary of Homeland Security approving funds that were on her desk. She has to now approve every reimbursement in excess of $100,000, and that was slowing things down dramatically. She has approved a number of those funds. Great news, we don't have access to that money yet because they've created a third bureaucratic level of review called Defend the Spend, and it's in this DOJ committee, and that can take another 30 to 90 days. So we're getting approved by FEMA. Then, and that used to be it. Once that happened, you used to be able to get the money and get it right back to these local governments. Now it needs to then be approved by the Secretary of Homeland Security. That used to be it. Now it has to be approved by DOJ. And so all of this is slowing down the reimbursements, which means these local governments do not have cash flow. This is for projects they've already done that were approved, and they're just waiting on the reimbursement, and it's taking way too long.
Two clarification questions. The 9%, is that's to this point, those percentages, is that total or is that to that?
Yeah.
Compared to those other storms to date?
To date, that I can't tell you. It's a fair question, and your point is correct, in that the 9% is what we've either received or have been awarded. So for instance, the $1.6 billion in CDBG DR money that we've been awarded, we haven't received that money yet. We've spent just a fraction of it. DOT has another billion-something dollars that have been allocated, awarded, but we haven't received that money yet. So what we want is, over the end period, to be able to make sure that North Carolina is fairly treated. The federal government has been a good partner, and I want to echo what Senator Corbin said. Our two United States senators, Senators Tillis and Budd, Representative Edwards, the entire delegation, they've been championing Western North Carolina. We just need, this is the next step, and this is the time when they need to step up and make another major appropriation.
Do you know what, like, if you were to compare how long it took previously when you only needed FEMA approval to now, is that months, weeks, or what?
I'll have to get back to you on that. All I know is that these extra layers of bureaucratic review is slowing down the reimbursement to these local governments.
I've heard Representative Edwards say that 1,000 times that there's too much bureaucracy in government in general, and it sounds like that another layer has been added. There will be other natural disasters in North Carolina, or have been other natural disasters in the United States this year. Is this something that you think North Carolina can champion about cutting through some of that red tape to get our communities back on track?
Yes, FEMA plays a critical role. I think everyone up here will say that their experience with FEMA generally was positive. It played a constructive role in the immediate response and then the starting of the recovery process. But it is too slow, and it can be restructured. It can be reformed. It can be improved so that the funds come quicker. The funds can be used for more than just getting a house back to the state of repair it was before the storm, but actually can be used to strengthen and improve a home. Because right now, you get money immediately to help with your home right after the storm from FEMA. Then you have to wait a year, sometimes 2 years, to get the HUD money to improve your home. And that's just, it adds expense, it adds time, it adds inconvenience. So there are ways that we can streamline the recovery process, and we will be working with the administration to do just that.
Thank you, everybody.
All right. Thanks, everybody, for being here.